Hello everyone, I'm Andrew Butler.
And I'm Kathy Lynn.
Tonight on News at 9, we'll be discussing the famous case of Trayvon Martin. As you know, Martin's case has received public attention all across the nation, mostly because the media has been gatekeeping it, or focusing on the aspects of the case that would seem to appeal to most Americans. Kathy, what is this case about?
Well, Andrew, Trayvon Martin was an unarmed 17-year-old African-American male who was visiting his father's fiancée who lived in a gated community. Trayvon Martin went out to the local convenience store one evening, returning at 7:02 p.m. with his purchase of a bag of Skittles and tea. The fatal shooting of Trayvon Martin by George Zimmerman took place on February 26, 2012 in Sanford, Florida. George Zimmerman was a 28-year-old multiracial Hispanic male who was in the community watch coordination for the gated community where he shot Martin to death.
So why is America in such an uproar?
Well, Andrew, I'm glad you asked. Zimmerman claims that his shooting was based on self-defense, while Martin's family claims that Trayvon was shot based on his race and his hoodie.
Well, America sure is on Martin's side, despite evidence that Zimmerman was injured after confronting someone he believed to be suspicious, the close proximity of the gunshot to the victim, and witness statements that describe Zimmerman on his back, screaming for help after several seconds before firing, have prompted some critics to suggest that Special Prosecutor Angela Corey overcharged Zimmerman to quell public unrest over the case, a notion she has denied. Zimmerman claims he acted in self-defense after the unarmed 17-year-old attacked him, bloodying his head and breaking his nose. There sure has been some public uproar. In fact, did you know that nearly 100 Harvard University students and supporters gathered outside the Landell Library on the university's campus Monday night to remember Trayvon Martin? Artists have used Skittle art to memorialize Martin. Justice has been called for throughout the nation.
This criminal case taking place in the judicial branch on the Florida state level is sure causing an uproar. However, that might be due to watchdogging by the media, firing up public opinion against Zimmerman, such as the allegedly unedited 911 call that Zimmerman made before Martin was shot, in which Zimmerman initially said Martin was black without being asked what race he was. However, it was later discovered that this tape was actually edited by the broadcasting network and sounded like this.
This guy looks like he's up to no good, or he's on drugs or something. It's raining and he's just walking around looking about. Okay, and this guy, is he white, black, or Hispanic? He looks black. Did you see what he was wearing? Yeah, a dark hoodie, like a gray hoodie, and either jeans or sweatpants and white tennis shoes.
Wow, the unedited tape makes Zimmerman sound a lot less racist and shows that the 911 operator actually asked the race of the man. However, there is still a ton of inconsistencies with Zimmerman's call. The public sure is eating up this case.
Enough about the public. What is the government thinking about this case?
Well, Kathy, this case is not just a social issue. It's also questioning the stand your ground law, which states that a person may use force in self-defense when there is a reasonable belief of a threat. In some cases, a person may use deadly force in public areas. Under these legal circumstances, a person is justified using deadly force in certain situations, and the stand your ground law would be a defense or an immunity to criminal charges and civil suit. By having the stand your ground law questioned, the government is also involved in the Trayvon Martin case.
Speaking of the government, a president can pardon whoever he likes who is in jail. Even if Zimmerman is convicted, President Obama can pardon Zimmerman if he believes that he was wrongly convicted. President Obama has reportedly decided not to weigh in on the Trayvon Martin case. Obviously, we're not going to wade in a local law enforcement matter, said a White House spokesman. But the Justice Department and the FBI have now opened an investigation to determine if Zimmerman or the Sanford Police Department violated Trayvon's civil rights. Now you know who really influences the government? Interest groups.
Interest groups are definitely taking a part in this case, with groups like NAACP and Urban League up in arms with amicus curiae briefs flying everywhere. Civil rights interest groups are definitely taking part in the Martin case.
Now to Ellen Ju, our field reporter, standing where it all happened.
Thanks, Kathy. I'm standing in the gated community. We're just a few feet away from where Martin was shot.
Ellen, what are the possible resolutions of this case?
Zimmerman could be found either guilty or innocent. He is charged with the second-degree murder, and his trial is still continuing. Zimmerman is currently being brought to justice legally through the judicial court, where he will have a fair trial with a impartial jury. The right to a fair in the Bill of Rights, in which the legislative branch can alter. The judicial branch is the one mainly involved. The executive branch can pardon a criminal, effectively nullifying the court's decision. As previously stated, the legislative branch can amend the Constitution. The judicial branch has the power of judicial review and can decide whether or not someone is guilty. Currently, Zimmerman is awaiting until the trial in the Florida State Court. On April 20th, the judge approved Zimmerman's bail on $150,000 bond. He was released from jail on April 23rd and is required to wear an electronic monitoring device until back to trial. Back to you, Kathy.
Thanks, Ellen.
That's all for tonight. Be sure to stay updated on this case because it sure is sweeping the nation.